I have wanted to do the entire process of growing lettuce since probably day one of this YouTube, but it just never happened. The stars never just aligned for me. But this week we're going to be talking about lettuce from seed to seedling to a full grown head of lettuce that you could eat, sell, or just watch it because it looks really, really pretty in your backyard. Let's get going. Hello everyone, thank you all so very much for joining in. This is Dylan from the Trinity Gardeners channel, and I'm just so happy that you made it for this video. If you didn't see any other video, I'm just happy that you're here for this video because we're talking about everybody's favorite crop, the number one probably staple salad that we use in Trinidad, which is lettuce. This here is buttercrunch lettuce that I grew from seeds that I saved myself. So literally, this was free. I spent zero money to get this, and then these seedlings are also free. The stuff inside costs some money, but all in all, we're talking about $10, 10 TT. And then this lettuce that I have here, it really, I mean, at this point, because I have my own soil and whatnot, this is no money at all. Now, lettuce is the kind of crop that you take it for granted at certain times of the year when you can get a head of lettuce for $5, $6, and then all of a sudden lettuce is $15. I sold lettuce around this past Christmas for $25 for a head of lettuce, and this is not counting the imported iceberg lettuce. One head of iceberg lettuce for 40 TT dollars. What insanity is that? But that's how food goes, and that's how food security is something that's very, very important in Trinidad. And I'm just really happy for this video to show you all how you can be self-sustainable in at least one crop. It's, I think, the easiest crop to be fully self-sustainable on, and that is lettuce. So before I even begin, I'm going to put a link here to a video that I had done on something called succession planting. Basically, succession planting is the idea of having plants at every stage of their life in your garden so that you're never in a position where you have either too much of a certain vegetable in your garden or you have none of it at all, because this happens very often, especially as a new gardener, where you're just happy to be growing, and that's fine, that's perfect. You're enjoying the entire process. But what can happen is, you get a VAPS, you grow a whole set of lettuce. All of a sudden you have so much lettuce, you don't know what to do with all the lettuce, you give away, whatever the case is, and then when all that lettuce finishes, you don't have any more, and then you have to wait until the next harvest. So that's not something that's going to really make sense for the home gardener. Now, if you're a commercial farmer, maybe that makes some sense, because you maybe have limited amount of space, you grow a big amount, you sell it, you make some money. That money is what you use to then plant back. That's fine. Although advanced farmers will have, like, if they have this much land, just imagine this much land, right? You grow this much lettuce, and then while this one is probably at 1 month old, then you start this one here. So then when you're harvesting, you harvest from here, then you harvest from here. When you're harvesting from here, it's because you're planting back here. So that way you're always having plants at different stages, so you're never really out of anything. So what I would advise in terms of succession planting, now of course click the link and go look at the video that I told you all about, is that at least one crop in your garden, at whenever you feel comfortable doing this, one crop alone in your garden, I would recommend lettuce because it's so easy and it's something that you can use literally every single day. There's a meal that could have lettuce in it. Then you have your, so what I think you should do is you have your seeds that you should be sowing. Maybe once a month you sow your lettuce seeds. Then once a month you should be transplanting some lettuce seedlings into a container, and then at least once a month you should have lettuce to harvest. So that way you always have lettuce at all the different stages. You have seeds that aren't just sitting around, seeds that you're sowing, seeds that you have sown and are now ready to be planted in, and then lettuce that's ready to be picked within this week into next week. And you're never going to be out of lettuce once you get that system down pat. And really, it takes a bit of practice, but it's nothing that you cannot do. You might think that, oh my goodness, having lettuce all the time, that's something that only an advanced person can do. No, anybody can do this. Really, like, if I can do it, I'm telling you, there is no reason that you cannot do it. Okay, but that is not really why we're here today for this video. So we're going to get into it. So what I want to talk to you all about today is the different stages of lettuce. And let me just start with the seeds here. This is buttercrunch lettuce. It's marked here, buttercrunch. yeah, butter crunch lettuce. And I saved these seeds 2 years ago, and these seeds have been working for me perfectly. Now, since then, I have saved more seeds, but I like to use the principle of using the first set that came in. I want to use that first, and then the last set, I'm going to leave that for afterwards. So that way, I'm always trying to have fresher seeds in case of any emergency. Not that I want to panic anyone, but in case of an emergency, the ones that I'm going to have in my pantry, my seed pantry, is going to be the seeds that are the freshest. So I'm sure that worst case scenario, let's say we can't get lettuce for whatever reason, I can grow my own, and I know that those seeds are going to be the best. And now, while I still have the option, if my seeds don't work, I can run down to my local market stall and get lettuce. I'm going to try the seeds that may not work as well. But as you can see, I have some seeds here, and these seeds are what I poured into here to get these seedlings. So these seeds 2 years on, and they're still working. So the seeds that I saved just a month ago and a few months ago, just imagine they're going to be serving me in 2024, 2025. So that way you're always planning for the future. And people talk about investments, like investing in land, money. Well, yeah, you can invest in money, yeah. And, invest in infrastructure, invest in construction, whatever the case is. Now, why not invest in your own food security? How cool is that? Okay, so let me show you all how I got these lettuce seeds. So I'm going to take you over to this butterhead lettuce, and this one here is also another type of lettuce. Sorry, they look kind of droopy. I need to water them, but it's fine because I don't really plan to eat this lettuce, so it's not going to be like it doesn't bother me if the lettuce just isn't looking very good, because it's still going to produce the seeds. So at the very top here, what you can see is you can see the flowers of my the lettuce, right? And this is called bolting. Now I'm going to put a link on the top here, so you'll get a bit of a background on what bolting really is. But it's just a process where lettuce, crops like lettuce, produce their seed. So you see the flower here, just underneath the flower, this bud. Inside of this bud, once the flower blooms, the bud is going to dry, and inside of that pocket, you're going to get your lettuce seeds. Now, each bud here can give me probably about 10 to 15 seeds, and look at how many buds. So that's a lot of lettuce. And I mean, if you really think about it, you never need to, after I collect these seeds here, I will never need to buy this variety of lettuce again. If I'm buying lettuce seeds, it's because I want a new variety that I don't have right now in the garden. And that's how simple it is to get your own lettuce seeds. So there we go here. So after you have these lettuce seeds, what you're going to want to do is plant these lettuce seeds. So I'm going to show you my process for planting in lettuce seeds, which is so easy. It's so simple. There's nothing complicated at all about it. So what I would do is I would get one of these containers. This here is a container that's designed for plants, like ornamental plants around the house that you just want to put your house plants inside, and this is going to catch the water, and then when this fills up, you drain it out. So I like to use these don't have drainage holes underneath, which is usually the practice. You have drainage holes. These don't have anything like that, and to be honest, this is just the way that it works for me. When I sometimes plant my lettuce into like actual seed trays, I find my germination rate, just for some reason, just doesn't grow as well as when I have it like in something like this. It's just my personal preference. So what I would do is I would just take some of this peat moss and vermiculite, this mix here. This mix, you can get it in a hardware, sorry, not a hardware, you can get some hardwares maybe, but you get it in an agro shop. You just tell them you want Pro Mix, and they will give you a mix that's good enough for growing seeds, and that's what I use, except that I amend it a little bit. So how do I amend it? I will just take the Pro Mix, I'll put it inside here, and then I'll take some of this worm castings and I'll just mix it in. The worm castings, I find, in addition to being a really great fertilizer, really good natural fertilizer. Of course, worm castings is a fancy way to say worm poop, which of course sounds gross, but I mean, I don't think it looks gross at all, and it doesn't smell anyway like bad at all. It's really a clean form of, one of the best manure you can get, and this, in addition to being a fertilizer, also helps with water retention, because the water retention, because this is organic, so organic materials, they hold on to water a lot better. And because this mix is comprised primarily of peat moss, peat moss is, I think, I forgot, I think the word is like hydrophobic or something like that, where it holds on to water, but it also loses water really quickly. So, and it takes a while for it to actually start to absorb water. So you can sit in water for like a little while and not actually absorb the water, which is kind of weird if you think about it. But yeah, I like to mix these together. So I'll just mix it around, and then I will just take my seeds and just fully just sprinkle my seeds on it. If I am planting out seedlings, the same day or the same week that I plant out seedlings should in theory be for succession planting the same week that I set seeds. So it's always the process of replenishing each stage of the cycle. So if I set out these seedlings, I no longer have seedlings. So what do I need to do? I need to make my own seedlings. So therefore, if I'm setting this out, if I'm planting these seedlings out, then I need to be planting these seeds to get back more seedlings. And that way we're always on a trajectory to always have a good inventory of lettuce in your backyard garden. And don't let words like inventory scare you, because you really should at some stage be thinking not just growing and having a backyard for the sake of having a backyard, but also really trying to see how well you can get into the habit and get into the practice, because it's practicing that gets you anywhere really in life, and any kind of skill. And gardening is a skill to be able to be truly self-sustainable, to be able to produce your own food on that level that you don't need to always run to the supermarket or to the market every time that you need something as simple and as easy to grow as lettuce. Okay, so once your seeds have germinated and they have produced their true leaves, these lettuce, they will produce a leaf that's only designed with one purpose, that is to break out of the shell of the seed. It's very tiny, so you wouldn't know, but the seed itself has a shell, and inside of that is the actual plant. So the water and the right environment will activate that plant to start to burst out. It will burst out using the leaves that are just naturally inside those leaves, and then those leaves will eventually die and they'll produce the real leaves, which is the lettuce leaves here, and that is what we're going to be planting in. So the next step, the next stage in this is how I'm going to be planting in these seedlings into my backyard here. Now I do have a lettuce growing guide that's up here that you could consult, but notwithstanding that, I'm going to show you all 4 or 5 very simple ways to plant in your seedlings when they are at this stage in their life. Let's get going. So at this stage here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to separate out some of these seedlings. Now, of course, because I didn't use separate cells like a seed tray would have, it's going to be a bit, not really so very tricky, to be honest. After some practice, you're going to get it. But what I do really and truly, because a seed cell, you just have one and you just pluck it out like that. This doesn't have that, and it's very densely sewed in here. So what I just tend to do, these are not as fragile as you think they are. I'll just take my finger and I'll get a little spot like here. I'll just put my finger in. I'm just going to start moving the soil around like this, right? I'm trying not to pull too much on the roots. But yeah, so as you can see here, I've gotten a little chunk out, and here I have some seedlings. And here now, our further step is going to start separating out. And this here, it's really not as fragile as you think it is. So this is a seedling. That's a lettuce that I could use. You see the roots are all intact. And just flop them back down. Here I think I have a few more plants. So there we go. To be honest, I've been actually shocked sometimes when plants, like let's say I rough this one up and like it's just a little bit of root there, these plants just catch themselves back. It's really incredible. They're so resilient. I thought this was true. Yeah, it is true. Now when it's so tight together, you just have to be a little bit extra careful. You don't want to completely destroy the roots, even though you can kind of mush it around, because it's still a fairly small plant. So there we go. See that? That's 2 extra seedlings there. So this is what I was telling you all earlier in the video. This is what was inside the seed, inside the shell casing of the seed there. This is what was there. This is what helped the seed to break out of the casing of the seed. But then once these leaves form, which is the true leaves, what we do call it true leaves, then this is what you're going to actually be using in your lettuce. So this is just going to naturally die. See, it's already falling off, and that's completely natural. And then here now I can use the seedling and plant it in. So let me take you all to the first type of way that you can plant in lettuce: seedling. So this is the first place that I'll be planting in some of my lettuce seedlings. You see how many I have. Some of them I'll probably be using to actually eat in a salad because they're really nice and young, so it's going to be sweet. I'm just going to be putting this into the PVC planter here, just making a little hole and plopping it in. There we go. I'm not burying it very much. And there we go. We have our lettuce planted in entirely into the PVC planter. I'm going to be putting up a link to the video where I made this PVC planter because it's a DIY creation here. Nothing complicated at all. And you have a place that's hanging, easy to water, looks really nice when the lettuce grows up. And you can have your lettuce growing right here in your own PVC planter. Second place I'll be planting in some lettuce seedling, well, one lettuce seedling, is inside a regular container. So this is a plant pot. There was an ornamental plant inside here once upon a time until I commandeered this for my garden without permission, I should add. But I haven't been told anything about it so far, so I'm just going to carry on. Right, so I'm just putting this inside here. I'm being kind of gentle. And then I'm using the soil to just prop up the stem. Right, remember with these seedlings, very, very important. As soon as you plant it in, you just water it. And there you go, lettuce planted in. Nothing complicated at all. Third way to plant in your lettuce. So I'm going to get another seedling over here. Just being extra careful. There we go. We're going to come over here to my raised bed. So I've shown you all this raised bed a few times. It's like it's fairly overgrown with grass and whatnot, but I can just pull out some grass, clear out the spot, have my trusty little trowel, just make some space. Up. There you go. So to hole. There you go, seedling inside there. There you go. And then just watering my seedling from there, and then I have some lettuce growing up right here. Now, it would not be wise to just leave around here like this, so I would have to come back and clean up some of this grass that's growing out here. But in theory, perfect way to plant in your lettuce, and you have a head of lettuce coming in from your raised bed. Just as I showed you all a raised bed that was made with blocks around. Now we're actually going to be planting inside the block holes. Let's make a little spot like that. There we go. Up. And that's it. That's perfect. Nice little spot for your lettuce. And the fifth and final way to plant in your lettuce seedling is the old faithful, the way that our past generations have been doing it, which is just filling some soil in the ground. Sometimes it's clay, sometimes it's sandy, sometimes it's a mixture. Just make a little hole. That's a big hole. Just put your seedling in. I think that was a caterpillar. Alright, let's just cover it and hope for the best. There you go. And just water that in, and your lettuce is planted in. And there you go. That's the entire process, the entire cycle from having and harvesting your own lettuce seeds to making your own seedlings, and then 5 super simple, easy ways to plant in that lettuce that you started from seed. Isn't that amazing? If you, of course, know somebody who'd be interested in growing and having unlimited lettuce that you can grow for next to nothing right in your backyard, feel free to share this video with them, and let's help them just be self-sustainable and help them with their food security. Remember that if you would like to see more content coming to Trinidad Gardeners Garden, feel free to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook, and feel free to tag us on any of those platforms where we're so happy to see what you all are getting up to in your gardens. Remember, as always, this has been Dylan from the Trinidad Gardener channel reminding you to get up and get growing. Take care.